All right, so example 1, we're going to find the slopes for parallel and perpendicular lines. So I gave an equation, y equals 7x plus 6. So I'm going to recall from last year when we looked at equations, we have y equals mx plus b, and m is the slope, okay? And I'm going to write that over here, m equals the slope. So the number attached to the variable x is going to be the slope. So right now, the slope is 7, okay? So I want to find the slope for a parallel line and the slope for a perpendicular line. So I know from the theorem from yesterday, or from the last video, that parallel lines have the same slope. So the slope is going to equal 7. And from last video, I know that the perpendicular slope is going to be the opposite reciprocal. So if 7 is positive, the opposite is going to be negative. And the reciprocal of 7, or 7 over 1, is 1 over 7. So now I found the slope for the parallel line and the perpendicular line. Okay, I'm going to do another example. Okay, so this one is y equals 2/3 x minus 1. So I'm going to do the same thing. I need to identify the slope. Slope is right here. It's the number next to the x. So 2/3. So if I want a parallel line, I'm going to keep the same slope. So that's going to be 2/3. And then perpendicular. Since the original slope is positive, the perpendicular slope is negative because that's opposite. And then reciprocal, I need to switch the 2 and the 3. So it's negative 3 over 2. Okay, easy enough. I'm going to give you 2 try-its. All right, so these are your 2 try-its. Take a minute, pause the video, and try those 2 problems. So again, pause the video and try to find the slope for the parallel line and the perpendicular line for each of those 2 equations. Okay, hopefully you're back. So the slope here is negative 1/6, which means for the parallel line, I'm going to keep it negative 1/6. For perpendicular, I need to switch the sign. So since this one is negative, I know that I'm going to have a positive number. And 1 over 6 switches to 6 over 1, or it's going to just become the whole number 6. Okay. All right, how about 7/8? 7/8 is the slope for this equation. So parallel is 7/8 also. And perpendicular is going to be the opposite reciprocal. So the opposite to positive 7/8 is negative 7/8. And we flip it over for the reciprocal, 8/7. Okay, so if you got those, awesome job on that. I think I have a few more seconds for me to talk about finding slope from a picture really quick. Okay, remember, in order to find the slope from a diagram, basically you make a slope triangle. So make sure that you have the points obviously indicated. And then we're going to go and draw our slope triangle straight up and then straight over. So slope is rise over run. Okay, so I'm rising from negative 3 all the way up to positive 3. So, sorry, from negative 2 all the way up to positive 3. So I go 1, 2 spaces, and then 3, 4, 5 spaces total. So I've got a 5 on the top. That's how far up I went. And then run is from left to right. So I count it 1, 2, 3 to go from negative 3 to 0. And that is 3. Okay, notice both of these are positive because I rose up and I ran to the right, okay? If your slope is going downward, like if it's going this direction, then you have a negative slope. But when it is going upward, like this one is, this is a positive slope, okay? It's like slope man, which I'm sure that you've heard of before. Okay, that is it for this video. Awesome.